Rays have now won 9 of their last 12. Yes, the AL East is getting even more interesting. Here's Dick Stockton.
All right, Matt, and the fans making their way into the Trop here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And as we heard in the pregame show, Ben Zobrist has been named to the All-Star team representing the Rays. And Chris Sale, the young left-hander who's working tonight, will represent the White Sox in the All-Star game. And Baseball Night in America on Fox brings you the Tampa Bay Rays. They are surging right in the thick of the AL East race against the White Sox, who have been struggling. And right now their mission simply to get out of the cellar in the AL Central. Welcome everyone to St. Pete. Dick Stockton along with Brian Anderson, and we're going to be treated tonight to a terrific pitching matchup. Two of the best pitchers in all of baseball in Chris Sale and Matt Moore.
And what you love about these guys is they have the same philosophy on pitching, and that is to stay aggressive and attack early. Both of these pitchers have high-octane arsenals capable of racking up big strikeout numbers and dominating a lineup from start to finish.
So it's going to be quite a matchup tonight in this particular game. Two of the top pitchers in the American League on the mound. Matt Moore looks for his 12th win of the season for the Rays, while Chris Sale looks to continue his all-star season for the White Sox. Coming up next on Baseball Night in America on Fox. Tonight's starting lineup for the White Sox is brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Alejandro Diaz will be in center field. Alexi Ramirez will be at shortstop. Alex Rios will be in the right fielder hitting third, and Adam Dunn at first base batting cleanup. The designated hitter is Jeff Keppinger. Connor Gillespie will be at third base. Diane Viciedo will be in left field hitting seventh. Gordon Beckham is at second base. And the catcher batting ninth is Tyler Flowers. And facing Matt Moore, we'll get to him in a moment, there is Joe Madden, who has to be pleased with what the Rays have shown. And it's turned back the clock night, and so you're going to see those kinds of uniforms. That's a hypothetical uniform of what the Rays would have worn. They haven't gone back to the 70s. As you look at the Yankees, who passed the Orioles into second place in the AL East by beating them 5-4 today. And you can see how tight it is from 2 through 4 as the Rays take the field and playing well indeed. They have won 2 in a row and have won 6 of their last 7 games. And in the American League Central, for Robin Ventura, it has been a tough job right now as the White Sox are 12 behind the first place Detroit Tigers, and Chicago 15 under 500, and that matches their low point of the year. So right now they're just trying to get to the next stop. Minnesota beating Toronto 6-0 earlier today. And Matt Moore will be on the mound for the Rays. 11-3, Brian. He's been one of the aces.
He absolutely has, and the keys for Matt Moore, when you look at his season, pound the zone. When he is consistently in the zone, he is awfully tough to beat, and quick adjustments. He has done a better job of making mechanical adjustments on the fly, therefore limiting his exposure to the big inning. That needs to continue tonight.
And the Rays have had the offense going, and certainly the defense as well. As you take a look at Fuld, Jennings, and Myers, the rookie in the outfield, Longoria, Escobar, who's been brilliant, Zobrist, the all-star at second, and Rodriguez at first, Lobatone behind the plate catching Moore. This is a team that has gone 6 games in a row without an error and only 1 in their last 11 games. And their 35 miscues are third fewest in the league, and not a far cry from the problems they had last year, Brian.
Yes, they were very inconsistent defensively last year. A lot of that had to do with the injury to Evan Longoria, guys moving around the infield. That was a point of emphasis coming into this year. Spring training, mission accomplished so far.
All right, so the Rays in their turn back the clock uniforms ready to go, and there is Ben Zobrist, the all-star. And we want to remind you that the opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. From May to July, buying Budweiser benefits military families. Alfonso Marquez will be calling balls and strikes. Scott Barry will be the first base umpire. Mike DeMuro is at second, and the crew chief, Ted Barrett, at third. And last night, the Rays were victorious 8-3, and has been their custom lately. They've been scoring a lot early. They had 5 runs in the second inning, back-to-back homers by Jose Molina and Kerry Johnson, and both not in the lineup. Kelly Johnson not in the lineup tonight as we start the game, and we're set to go. Moore facing Diaz, who comes in hitting .257 with 10 homers and 40 runs batted in. First pitch is a call strike.
You know, Dick, you referenced the Rays scoring early, getting off to quick starts. That was something that Joe Madden really ingrained into this team in spring training. Wanted quick starts, figured a lot of tough bullpens to deal with in the American League East. So get off to a quick start, shorten the game, and let his bullpen close it out for you.
93-mile-an-hour fastball from Moore, and the count is 0-2 to Diaz. The White Sox 12 games behind Detroit, now 2.5 behind the Twins. They have dropped 7 of their last 9. And the count now 1-2. At one point they were 500. That was at the end of May. And in third place, 4 games out of first place. But since then they have dropped 25 of their last 35 and are deep in the doldrums right now. 1-2 pitch, and it's bounced to Sean Rodriguez, who makes the play unassisted. 1 gone.
And that's exactly how Matt Moore wants to pitch all night long. Get ahead with that fastball. He's very good with it to both sides of the plate, and then that allows him to get to his very good secondary pitches. You know, there are a lot of similarities between Moore and Sale in the way that they attack hitters. They want to get ahead of you with their high-powered fastballs, and then with Matt Moore, it's the curveball. With Sale, it's the slider. You get weak contact and strikeouts.
Alexi Ramirez, the shortstop, hitting .277. 1 out in the White Sox first, and a ground ball through the hole into left field. On the first pitch, Ramirez is aboard. Well, Alexi Ramirez had played in every inning at shortstop this year until the 7th inning when defensive replacement Gordon Beckham moved over to shortstop, and so that ended that for Alexi Ramirez. But he's aboard with 1 out here in the first.
Well, and Alexi Ramirez showing you what the philosophy is going against Matt Moore, because you know he wants to get ahead of you with that fastball. If it's going to be in the zone, you had better be ready to hit early.
And here's Alex Rios batting .271. He has hit 11 home runs and has knocked in 38. ball strike to Rios, whose name has been mentioned in the possible trades, and the White Sox and their general manager Rick Hahn have to decide which way they're going to go, and judging by the fact they're bringing up young players, Rios could be a candidate to be dealt.
Well, I think when you look at the Chicago White Sox roster, I don't know if there's any untouchables. You start to think maybe a little bit Paul Konerko, maybe Chris Sale, but the general manager Rick Hahn has said, listen, I'd be foolish to not listen to whatever anybody has to offer on any player that I have.
And that's not always a bad idea, because fans could get behind stocking the farm system, getting youth in there instead of being on a treadmill and making little moves that are not going to net you a division title. Check swing by Rios, and the count is a ball and 2 strikes. Ramirez with 19 stolen bases on at first against the left-hander. Will be watching him, tied for 5th coming into the league.
Oh, that's what you were wondering. The White Sox have had a hard time scoring runs, fewest runs scored in the American League, so they try to create something. Matt Moore, not easy to run on.
Took something off that pitch, swung on and missed, and down he goes. Rios strikes out, and Ramirez was actually going back to first on that delivery.
I mean, he went with a high leg kick. Matt Moore will mix up his looks. Even though he's a left-handed pitcher, he's looking right at the runner. He will mix his looks. He will slide step. He will also use a regular leg kick, and here he puts away Rios with a plus changeup. That's what makes another thing that makes him so difficult. You got to respect that fastball and be looking for the 94, 95, but at the same time, the curveball and the changeup is a put away.
2 down, Adam Dunn, and he takes a fastball inside. Adam Dunn just getting over the 200 mark. 23 homers, though, tied for 3rd in the American League, and he's in the top 10 with 57 runs batted in as well. He is 2 for 7 against Matt Moore, but both of those hits have been home runs. Ramirez with the lead at first with 2 out, and again took something off that pitch, 82-mile-an-hour changeup, and the count is 1-1.
And that's why Matt Moore, when facing Adam Dunn, doesn't even think about that batting average. He knows what kind of damage that he can do firsthand, and that's the way you approach him. There are some holes definitely in his swing, but he is capable of going yard on any pitch.
Ball and 2 strikes now to Adam Dunn, always near the lead in both strikeouts and walks in the American League. But you're right, he gets a hold of one. And he's done it 23 times already this year. Had a walk-off home run earlier in the week against the Orioles. Ramirez with the short lead at first, missing outside, 2-2 to Adam Dunn.
Adam Dunn has that mix of being extremely patient at the plate, but yet a swing that you can exploit. However, you had better execute your pitches. You leave something out over the plate, you get hurt.
And Dunn strikes out. 1 hit, and Rios and Dunn go down. So the White Sox lead 1, and the Rays come up in the 1st. By Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. Desmond Jennings followed by Sean Rodriguez. Ben Zobrist hitting third and Evan Longoria cleanup. Will Myers batting in the fifth spot. Yunel Escobar sixth. Jose Lobaton batting seventh. The DH is Luke Scott and Sam Fuld batting ninth for the Rays against Chris Sale, 5-7. But the fifth best ERA in the American League at 2.79.
Well, that's why. Stay the course. There's nothing to change. He's been throwing the ball great. Just needs to continue to do that and get into a rhythm. Interestingly enough, Joe Maddon, you understand why he did it. But with 7 straight right-handed hitters to start off in Joe Maddon's lineup, you've got a chance to get into a nice rhythm with that fastball down and away, the breaking ball, the changeup.
Desmond Jennings, who's been red hot, fouls off the first pitch. And tell us about left-handers going against Chris Sale. How do they fare, Brian?
They don't fare. Is what 8 for 75 against Chris Sale. And this is why you don't see many, and you see 2 at the very back end of the lineup. 8 for 75, and all 8 hits are singles.
Here's the 0-1 to Jennings. And the pitch is taken for a ball, 1-1. Desmond Jennings has had back-to-back 3-hit games for the first time in his career. He was dropped in the batting order, but now looks like he wants to settle in as the leadoff hitter with no questions asked.
Well, Joe Maddon moved him down because the on-base percentage just was not there, and he wanted him to go down, start to reorganize his strike zone, swing at strikes. He started to have some success down 6-7 in the order. He popped him back up to the top of the order, now in the leadoff spot full time, and boy, he has responded big time.
And no question about it, as he fouls it off for 2-2, and it's also affected his base stealing abilities as well.
It absolutely has, because now he's getting on base more consistently, and he has confidence out there to now take off. There was a stretch there. You know, last year, Desmond Jennings was 31 out of 33 in stolen bases. This year, he started off the season 7 out of, I believe it was 13. So he was just barely over 50% success rate. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's not getting on very often. And you start to put, you know, you go in slumps in anything. Hitters go in slumps, pitchers go in slumps. Why can't base stealers? And that's what happened to Desmond Jennings. But now that he's out there more often, more confident, and he's starting to swipe more bags.
2-2 pitch and a shot handled beautifully by Gillespie at third and scooped down at first base by Adam Dunn. Terrific defensive play for a team that has had their problems in the field, and Gillespie saves a base hit, and Dunn completes the play, and Jennings is retired for the first out.
Boy, making a play for your pitcher. This ball was a rocket shot, and look at Gillespie. Step in a dive, the throw, and then Adam Dunn finishes it off with a nice scoop.
And this White Sox team, wouldn't know it from that play. 57 errors, the third most in the league coming into the game. That's been one of their major problems. But Connor Gillespie with the brilliant play, and that'll bring up Sean Rodriguez playing first base tonight, and swings and misses on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Rodriguez hitting .253, 2 homers and 14 runs batted in. Primarily has been a left fielder, but is playing first base, starting his 9th game as he goes around and misses. The count now 0-2.
And he's done a nice job over at first base. However, you're facing a guy like Chris Sale. We talked about the struggles against the lefties. You can see it with the arm angle. Chris Sale comes way out, low 3/4 arm angle, and the ball will ride up, as he's done here with Sean Rodriguez these last 2 fastballs.
Up and in, and the count is 1-2. Sale with a career high 15 strikeouts here at the Trop, while winning 2-1 in a great duel with Matt Moore a year ago in May. One shy of the team record of 16 Ks. And there's a called third strike fastball, and Rodriguez looks at it, and there are 2 down. Well, Jack Harshman holds the record for the most strikeouts for a White Sox pitcher in a single game. 16. That was back in 1954 against the Red Sox, and Sale just missed it by 1 in last year's game. And
you can rack up numbers like that when you have 3 pitches that you can use to put hitters away. A high-octane fastball, a slider that he'll change the speed on. It sweeps. A very good changeup also.
And the first pitch is a strike, breaking ball to Ben Zobrist, the switch hitter. And pleased that he has been named to the All-Star team. He comes in hitting .264 with 5 homers and 44 runs batted in. And there's another breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Zobrist.
Well, and I think when you talk about Ben Zobrist, the Ben Zobrist selection for me to the All-Star team shows you the importance of winning that game. Because Ben Zobrist can do a lot of things for you. Play a lot of different positions, switch hitter.
And do that, too. Go with the pitch to the opposite field. And a base hit for Zobrist. A smart at-bat for Ben Zobrist, and the first hit of the game for the Rays. 2
breaking balls to get ahead of him, and then 95-mile-an-hour fastballs up and out of the zone. Watch him shorten his swing and just play pepper with the right fielder. That is a great piece of hitting by Ben Zobrist down in the count.
And he is 5 for 9 against Chris Sale, so he's had some success against the 24-year-old left-hander. And that will bring up Evan Longoria, Rays cleanup hitter, batting .295, 17 homers, 49 runs batted in. Been bothered by plantar fasciitis in his foot. Was a DH for 3 games, and last night returned to his position in third base.
And that's where he wants to be. He's one of those players not content to DH. He'll do it if it'll help the team, and if he needs a day here or there, but he wants to be out in the field, a part of the game.
2 down, and Zobrist the runner at first base. Fastball just missing away, and it's 2-0 to Longoria, who playing third base last night for the first time since June the 28th. How key is this man? This is an improved hitting team without question, but they need him, and they need him all the time.
Well, he's the glue right in the middle of that order. He makes everybody around him better. He moves them into different spots in the lineup that are more conducive for success for these guys. Not to mention what he does down at third base with Gold Glove caliber defense. And that's where the Rays got into trouble last year defensively with his injury. A lot of guys had to fill in over there, and the defense just was not very cohesive.
Sale checking Zobrist, and the breaking ball is in for a strike. Good breaking ball by Chris Sale, and the count 2-2 to Longoria.
Tell me what you can do with that pitch. You know, he starts that pitch from that low arm angle off the plate and then breaks it right to the corner. I mean, Evan Longoria swings at that pitch. The best he can hope for is a dribbler somewhere or foul it off. Just a perfect pitch.
Comes back with the fastball. Longoria just gets a piece of it. Rays have won 2 in a row in 6 of their last 7 games. And it seems for the Rays that all things are coming together. They've got the offense, they've had the defense, the starting pitching now. Jeremy Hellickson with his 4th straight win last night. And David Price coming off the DL with a brilliant effort this past week. And then, of course, you have Matt Moore. Just low. And the count is full to Longoria.
Yeah, but then when you look at the Rays bullpen, you know, their bullpen through May the 27th was the worst in baseball as far as ERA goes. And even they are starting to get it together. You've got a couple of guys down there at the back end of that bullpen. Jake McGee, Joel Peralta, Fernando Rodney, now Alex Torres.
2.52 is the bullpen since May the 27th. Pitches inside, and ball 4, and Longoria draws a walk, and going to second is Zobrist, and with 2 out, the Rays have runners at first and second with the rookie Will Myers coming to the plate.
Well, Will Myers has been quite a shot for this Rays ball club. Called up, stuck out into right field. He's done a very nice job. 267 average, 3 home runs. I'll tell you what, this guy has a setup very similar to Evan Longoria as they set up at the plate. Swings are a little bit different, but the setup just about the same. High hands, looking to drive the ball, create backspin so they get that good carry from gap to gap.
This is his 76th at-bat since being called up. And the Rays, thinking so much of him, traded James Shields in a multi-player deal with Kansas City to get him. In the first pitch, this is inside, ball 1 to Myers. Zobrist the runner at second, Longoria at first with 2 out. Sale 5-7 on the year. He has dropped 5 in a row, and a ground ball, third base. Gillespie will get the force to end the threat. Well, the Rays get 2 men on base and a hit but Chris Sale pitches out of it after one no score here at the Trop. Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost, fuel economy, and a whole lot more. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. Well, they turn back the clock uniforms, and you may say, wait a second, we're here in St. Pete. How come the White Sox are wearing the home whites? That's because their road uniform was pale blue at the time, powder blue, and a lot of clubs wore powder blue, including the Brewers, the St. Louis Cardinals. That was a popular color in the 70s, and a lot of people are even shocked that the White Sox did have red as their main color, and they had a good season in 1972. Dick Allen was their main thrust. Bill Melton had an off year after a 33 home run season the year before. So here's Jeff Keppinger, the DH, leading off for the White Sox against Matt Moore in the second inning. Had a big year with the Rays last year, hitting .325 in 115 games.
Yeah, he may have been the most consistent hitter on that Rays ball club, always making solid contact, and obviously with that batting average of .325, finding a lot of holes.
Matt Moore giving up one hit, striking out two in the first inning. And it falls behind 3-1 to Keppinger with Connor Gillespie on deck for the White Sox. Both starting pitchers, both left-handers, are 24 years of age. And there's a fly ball left field. It's going to be tough for Sam Fuld, and it's going to drop in for a hit. Fuld does a good job of cutting it off, and the throw into second is not in time. Sam Fuld, and we've seen it before, can cover ground in a hurry. Got over toward the line, but Keppinger winds up with a leadoff double here in the second.
Well, what you try to do with Matt Moore is you try to get him into predictable counts. That's what we talked about, him pounding the zone. Throws a lot of fastballs when behind in the count. Keppinger gets one here in a 3-1 count, able to get it down into the corner. But you're right, Sam Fuld does not even allow that ball to get to the wall. Hustling over, trying to make a play at second base.
So in this much heralded pitchers duel, as you see Fuld brace himself against the wall, we've already had 3 hits, and we have nobody out in the second inning. Here's Connor Gillespie, still a rookie despite parts of 3 previous years with the Giants. Comes in hitting .202, 6 homers, 21 runs driven in, takes a strike.
Well, I will guarantee you one thing. These hitters, they hear about this matchup, Moore, Sale, it's all about the pitchers, and these guys have some pride. And they sit there and they say, wait a minute, we're out here to play too, so you better believe they're going to bring their A game.
We're not just going to sit back and admire the two guys on the mound.
That's right. We have a job to do. Maybe tougher than most nights, but we have to get it done.
0-1 the count to Gillespie. And there is a changeup outside for a ball, 1-1. White Sox bringing up Josh Fegley, who caught last night and had 2 runs batted in his first major league hit. Blake Ducote as well, and you can see some of the younger players getting an opportunity with the Chicagoans. Keppinger with the leadoff double has his lead at second. 1-1 pitch fouled down the right field line. 1-2 to the White Sox third baseman.
You may wonder why Robin Ventura putting the lefties in, some of the lefties in the lineup against Matt Moore. When you look at his breakout, lefties actually 231 against Matt Moore. Right-handers only 215. They're trying to keep Matt Moore one-dimensional. A lot of fastballs, heavy fastball to lefties. And it's a pretty straight pitch, so you get some good fastball hitters in there and let them go.
So a different philosophy. Joe Madden just said, I'm going to put the string of righties.
Yep.
Because we know how tough Sale is against the left-handers, and sometimes when you have the likes of a Dunn and a Gillespie in there, and those are the only 2 left-handed hitters in the lineup, the approach is different for Matt Moore.
If they're good fastball hitters, because Matt Moore's more linear. He's directly at the plate. Where you see Chris Sale getting out to the side, he creates a tremendous arm angle, very difficult for left-handers to deal with.
2-2 pitch, and striking out is Gillespie. And that's the third strikeout for Moore. 1 out. Keppinger with the leadoff double is at second, and Diane Viciedo coming to the plate. So for Moore, who started out 8-0 brilliantly this year, then went into a little dip, but has won his last 3 starts.
Well, the little dip was just a lack of command. There was a couple of starts where he had walks, tons of walks, 6 walks. There was one game in there where he threw a lot of strikes, but Baltimore came out swinging that day. Just a rough little patch, but he has turned it around in a hurry.
Took something off that pitch, 84 miles an hour. Changeup, strike 1 to Viciedo, who's batting .236, has hit 5 out with 23 runs driven in. White Sox with a chance here early against the Rays. Keppinger with the leadoff double, going after the high fastball out of the zone, and it's 0-2.
So difficult for a hitter to get on top of that pitch. They see it up close to their eyes. The ball looks big, looks like they can get to it, but if it's got that late little jump on it and good velocity, it's just so hard to be able to hit flush and put it into play.
Lead by Keppinger, not held on, as the shortstop Escobar is playing Viciedo to pull, so Keppinger can open up as big a lead as he likes.
And the only thing that the Rays can do defensively is you can maybe sneak Ben Zobrist. Ben Zobrist playing a little bit more up the middle. He is deep, but he's one guy that could keep an eye on Keppinger. Certainly not Escobar.
And leaning toward that. And the ball breaks inside. Another changeup in the count, 2-2.
And the other thing you think of is Jeff Keppinger, not a big runner. This is a guy you're not really worried about stealing the bag as long as Matt Moore can look back there and make him stop, where his lead is not too obnoxious. Just make him stop. He's probably not going to go anywhere and try to be driven in here by the hitter at the plate.
That's low. And the count is full to Viciedo. 25 home runs last year. But the power has been a power outage. Only 5 so far this year and only once since mid-May. So Matt Moore with the count 3-2. Keppinger on at first. And he strikes out Viciedo. So 2 strikeouts so far in each of the first 2 innings for Moore. And time now for tonight's 4 keys to the game.
Let's take a look at him. For the White Sox, Chris Sale, show him some support. His run support average is 2.62 from this Chicago White Sox offense. That is the lowest run support in Major League Baseball. And for the Rays, make hay while you can. They enjoy this homestand right here, a 3-team homestand between the Chicago White Sox, the Minnesota Twins, and the Houston Astros. 3 of the 4 lowest winning percentages in the American League. In the tough AL East, you've got to win these ball games.
Gordon Beckham having a good year, hitting .328. So the leadoff double, and then striking out the next two. Matt Moore, 1-0 to Beckham as he fouls it away. And you're so right about the chance to really take advantage of the last 8 games before the All-Star break against all of these teams, all at home, because following the break, the Rays will play 10 games in a row against division opponents. The Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and the Yankees.
On the road.
Blue Jays may be in last place, but they already put on a burst, as we saw, to get out of last momentarily. 1-1 with 2 out. And Moore wanted that pitch. 2-1 now to Gordon Beckham. Came off the disabled list on June the 2nd. Had a wrist injury. Was 2 for 4 in last night's series opener with an RBI. And a broken bat chopper. It's going to be tough. Longoria has no throw and no play. His concern was watching Keppinger go over to third base. Didn't want to try anything chancy with the runner at third. So Beckham beating out an infield hit.
Well, and also him, charging in. There was probably not going to be a play, obviously, at first base with Beckham hustling. And he's going to fake that throw, but fake it with some effort, because maybe you get Jeff Keppinger rounding third base a little bit too far and you can kind of backdoor him.
So the White Sox with runners at the corners.
You see if Jeff Keppinger gets aggressive coming around third base, or maybe a chance you can slip in a fielder behind him and maybe sneak in that last out.
Tyler Flowers, the number 9 hitter, batting .208. Has hit 8 out of the park, 22 runs batted in, and on the first pitch pops it up to Sean Rodriguez, who makes the catch to end the threat. The White Sox lead 2, including a runner at third, and get a pair of hits in the middle of the second. 0-0. By Bud Light Lime Limerita, and introducing new Strawberryta. Rays coming up in the second inning. It'll be Yunel Escobar, Jose Lobaton, and Luke Scott against Chris Sale. 24-year-old. And we'll be facing Escobar, hitting .250, 6 homers, 36 runs batted in. Talk about the improved Rays defense, Brian Anderson, and mentioned how they had a shift around with Longoria out last year. But what has this meant man meant to this club.
Well, he was one of when the Rays came into this season, they had 3 lockdown positions. Center field with Desmond Jennings, third base with Longoria, and Escobar at short.
And there's a looping base hit to right field on the first pitch. Escobar gets the second Rays hit. Well, Chris Sale, 24 years old, is from Lakeland, Florida, and he has family and friends in those seats, 25 of them. And he saw his first Major League game right here at the Trop for his 9th birthday, which was, this is right, the first game of the Rays, Devil Rays history on March 31st, 1998 against Detroit. His uncle Robert took him to the game. And so he's got family and friends here. Not far from where he grew up. In the first pitch to Lobatone. Sidearm fastball. Right south. Chris Sale pitched his college ball at Florida Gulf Coast. He went 11-0 in 2010. First team All-American, named the NCAA National Pitcher of the Year. And their basketball program, as you know, made headlines in March with a Cinderella run to the Sweet 16. Oh, 0-1 to Lobatone, and that's lashed foul past Tom Foley, the third base coach, and it's 0-2.
So we didn't know. Little did we know that Chris Sale was the first big story coming out of Florida Gulf Coast, because that basketball run, that was exciting.
And you were seeing more and more in the NCAA tournament where you're seeing schools, hey, you know, Butler, a much bigger school, though, and of course their coach Brad Stevens now coaching the Boston Celtics. 0-2 to Lobatone, switch hitter. He and Zobrist, the 2 switch hitters in the lineup for Joe Madden against the lefty Chris Sale, and the count is 1-2.
And interestingly enough, the 2 guys in this Rays lineup that have had a measure of success off of Chris Sale. Lobatone 3 out of 4 with a home run.
That goes flying back as the ball does as well.
Big swing there by Lobatone, and out shoots the bat. A little bit more grip stick.
Lobatone basically sharing the catching duties with Jose Molina, doing a good job, reaches out, and Gillespie can't handle the ground ball. Gillespie handled a shot at third before, not this one. And time now for a game break. Let's go to the MLB Network studios. Here's Matt's version.
Dick, Dodgers and Giants. Buster Posey batting with the runner at third. 1 away, RBI double. 1-0 Giants, right? Pretty simple here. Not so fast. Don Mattingly saw something he didn't like. And what he didn't like was that the Giants batted out of order. Run comes off the board. Giants have scored 2 anyway. 2-0 San Francisco, despite batting out of order in the first. Dick, back to you and Brian.
You know, Matt, it would only happen in a Giant-Dodger game. That's what I think. You rarely see that anymore.
Just add another variable to that series.
Here's Luke Scott, the designated hitter, and so the error charged to Gillespie, and Escobar, who led off with a single, is on at second. So the Rays with runners at first and second, nobody out, to Luke Scott. And he takes a strike. Sweeping slider. Scott hitting .253 with 5 homers and 29 runs batted in.
And this is a situation where Chris Sale is going to have to bail out his defense. And you talked about the defensive issues of this ball club, the Chicago White Sox. They were very good last year. These 2 teams have flipped. The Rays not very good last year, doing a fine job this year. White Sox the exact opposite. But you've got these 2 lefties up here back to back, and Chris Sale, we talked about what he's done against them. 8 out of 75, all 8 singles. Got a chance here to pitch himself out of this jam because of the matchups.
So in the case of Gillespie, he taketh away and then giveth, because that's what he did in this instant. Robbing Jennings of a leadoff single and then making the error on Lobatone, opening the doors. Nobody out for the Rays. 1-1 to Luke Scott, the 8th hitter in the lineup for Tampa Bay. And it seems at any time a pitcher steps off the rubber, the crowd yells balk if you're the visiting pitcher. Yes?
They want to see action. They want to see action.
Ramirez keeping Escobar close to second base, and a good pitch on the inside corner, and Scott upset with that one. So Scott has seen both sides of the plate from Chris Sale.
Look at this, starting it off the plate inside, breaking it right to the middle at the knees. Not very happy with that call and realizing, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with that pitch. That's why we talked to Joe Madden. He said that he was going to talk to Luke Scott. He's going to talk to Sam Fuld and tell them, look in a certain area.
Tries another breaking ball. This one is low, a bit inside, and it's 2-2 to Luke Scott.
That really is about the only philosophy that you can take off Sale. You just cannot cover the entire plate as a left-handed hitter against his stuff and his arm angle.
And we can see it in this batter alone.
Yep.
Scott 3 for 4 with a double and a run batted in last night's 8-3 win by the Rays. Runner from second was going. Escobar was off on the pitch, fouled away, and it remains 2-2. Lobaton was holding it first, but Escobar running on the pitch. And, you know, we wondered after the White Sox had a man at first base what Joe Madden might do to create something here just to get a lead against this pitcher.
Joe Madden, a very aggressive manager, and that's right. When you look at this pitching matchup, you figure runs are going to be difficult to come by, so you need to try to manufacture something. Put the pressure on the defense. Send somebody. Try to shake things up a little bit. You expect Robin Ventura to do the same thing against Matt Moore.
Runners don't go, and the pitch just missing inside. And the count is full to Luke Scott. So Chris Sale one pitch away from loading the bases with nobody out here in the Rays' second scoreless game.
How aggressive will Joe Madden be? Full count. Does he send Escobar again?
3-2 pitch. And a line shot. Fair ball into the right field corner. Escobar will score. Lobaton will be held at third, and in at second is Luke Scott with a double, and the Rays take a 1-0 lead. And an overthrow, but it bounces hard off the facade right back into the hands of Tyler Flowers. Otherwise, Lobaton would have come around. In any event, runners at second and third, still nobody out. And it's 1-0 in favor of Tampa Bay.
And how about that? Luke Scott with the first extra base hit of the season by a left-handed hitter off Chris Sale, and it comes in a full count. He keeps it fair down the line. That's going to score one for sure, and it almost scored two because of some sloppy defense here by Gordon Beckham as he cuts this ball out and airmails Tyler Flowers at home plate. You see the ball, the runner's in motion, one for sure. And the late hold here by Tom Foley. And how about this overthrow? Nowhere close to Flowers. They were fortunate that ball bounced off that low wall. But that could have cost them another run.
So now runners at second and third, and the infield is in for the White Sox. Sam Fuld, the number 9 hitter, takes a strike. He's hitting .198 with 2 homers and 10 runs batted in. Checking with Tom Foley. Infield is in with runners at second and third. Now the Rays may be thinking big inning. Who would have ever thought that against Chris Sale in this game? Here's a call strike. Sale, though, answers with his second pitch for the strike.
Well, Robin Ventura a little more apt to do this because of the fact that Chris Sale, high strikeout guy.
There's a foul ball into the Rays bullpen. So the count remains 0-2 to Sam Fuld, who's had a season high 3 hits in his last start Monday against the Astros on the road.
And how about that breakout? 360 against the lefties, just 145 against righties. Does a nice job of staying in there against the lefties. Really buries that front shoulder.
Fouls off the fastball high in the zone, and it remains 0-2.
Often you'll see a pitcher like that try to run that fastball up there, get the swing and a miss. If he doesn't get it, right back to the slider, down and away.
Check swing. 1-2 to Fuld. Chris Sale, who represented the White Sox in the All-Star game last year, on his way to a 17-8 record and will represent them again this season. And waving at that outside pitch. Gould strikes out. That is the second strikeout for Sale, and now there is one gone with runners at second and third.
Well, this pitch stays on the plate for an awful long time, to the point that Sam Fuld has to commit to it. But just because it's a sweeping slider, it just continues to run away from him, and he runs out of bat.
Here's Desmond Jennings, who was robbed of a base hit by Connor Gillespie to start the Rays' first inning. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Infield moving back a bit on the left side.
Well, that ground ball hit hard to Gillespie, not lost on Robin Ventura. And if he hits a ball like that again, they still got a chance for a play at the plate.
Missing with the fastball this time inside, and it's 1-1. Escobar led off with a single to right field. Lobato reached on an error by Gillespie, and then Luke Scott with an RBI double. 1-1 with one away. And now 2-1 to Desmond Jennings. Now it's 3-1 with Sean Rodriguez on deck for the Rays.
Chris Sale trying to get soft contact either via the fastball in on the hands or the changeup down and away. And with a number of misses, the count fully in Desmond Jennings' favor.
Took something off the pitch and a slow bounding ball. Gillespie throw to first is in time, but a run will score. Desmond Jennings is out. Good play by Gillespie, but Lobato comes across with the second run for the Rays, and Luke Scott moves to third.
Lobato on because of an error by Gillespie. Comes around to score on a very nice play by Gillespie against the speedy Desmond Jennings. You remember the error on the ball he charged. He tried to field with the glove. Bobbled that one against Lobato. Has to go to the bare hand here against Desmond Jennings, and he does it flawlessly.
For Jennings, his 35th run batted in of the year, and Scott with his double knocking in his 30th. So Scott is at third. 2 out to Sean Rodriguez. Swings and misses, strike one. He took a called third strike last inning.
And it was all about the fastball in that at bat. So all of a sudden, quick adjustment made here by Chris Sale. Let's go with the first pitch changeup for strike one.
Oh, 2 now to Rodriguez. Sale coming in with 114 strikeouts. 6th in the American League. He struck out 2 already, 1 in each of the first 2 innings. And ahead of Rodriguez, 2 strikes. In the dirt and blocked in front by Flowers.
But those are always big too, because with a runner on third, a pitcher has to have confidence that his catcher is going to be working back there for him so that he can throw his off-speed pitches. And a lot of times, the breaking ball, the changeup, they're going to bounce.
You want the changeup to bounce.
That's right. With 0-2 count,
And he strikes out. Rodriguez goes down for the second time, but the Rays get 2 runs, and that's a big lead if you got more. Luke Scott with the big double, and Desmond Jennings getting a run in on a ground out. It's 2-0 the Rays, and Baseball Night in America will return to St. Petersburg after a word from your local Fox station. with Brian Anderson, and Matt Moore has an early 2-run lead to work with. Here is Diaza, and he takes ball one, bounced out to first baseman Sean Rodriguez unassisted. So Matt Moore, and once again the Rays capitalizing on run scoring early in the game, up 2-0. Showing bunt, and now the count is 2-0. All 4 of Moore's strikeouts have been swinging strikeouts at changeups. That's been his money pitch thus far. Diaza, the leadoff hitter, up for the second time in the game, and that one will hit him on the hand, and Diaza is in pain. Herm Schneider, the trainer for the White Sox, is out, as is Robin Ventura, his manager.
Very, very ginger with that wrist. And you've got a 93-mile-an-hour riding fastball coming up and in on Diaza.
Let's see if we can hear this one. You know, it could have hit his arm and the bat at the same time, because the way Diaza is acting there, and they're looking at his wrist,
yep,
that this isn't, this isn't theatrics for him right now.
No, it could be an absolute glancing blow, too. Obviously, they're not going through all of this for nothing, but he does choke up on the bat. The knob end of that bat hangs an inch or two below that bottom hand.
4th time that Moore has hit a batter this year. And Diaz is all right, and he trots down to first base. So Diaz is on at first base, and Alexei Ramirez coming to the plate. Moore looking for his 12th win of the year. Has already given up 3 hits, but staked to a 2-0 lead. Ramirez with a single to left field his first time up. 1-0. The pitch is outside.
Well, that's what Matt Moore needs to do, is eliminate unnecessary base runners. That was his downfall. We showed that 3-game stretch where he was 0-3 with an ERA approaching a 14. That covered 12 1/3 innings, and there were 39 base runners in that time. All those extra opportunities and chances is when Matt Moore, and when you can get to him via the walk, hit batter.
Now this is his 4th career start against the White Sox. 2-1 with a 1.45 earned run average. Pretty impressive, and has won his last 2 outings as well, but he's been helped by a terrific offense. In fact, the Rays have scored 10 runs in each of those wins. And now Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, is going to go to the mound and talk to Moore after hitting the batter, falling behind 2-0 to Ramirez.
Yeah, and that was after falling behind 2-0 to Diaza before he hit him. And so what ends up happening is Matt Moore, they'll give him a little bit of leeway, give him a leash a little bit to try to self-correct out there on the mound. And if continues to miss arm side high or miss the zone, Jim Hickey will go out there, try to get him back in line. And this is the part of the game that Matt Moore has been better at this year than he was last year. And that's making those mechanical adjustments on the fly. Right now, 5 straight pitches out of the zone after being handed a 2-run lead.
Behind 2-0 to Ramirez with Alex Rios on deck, the number 3 hitter. And he misses with the fastball and falls behind 3-0. And so the White Sox trying to stage an uprising here in the top of the 3rd inning after the Rays scored 2 in the bottom of the 2nd. Diaza hit by a pitch on at first. 3-0. And now ball 4, and that wasn't even close. And now runners at first and second with nobody out. Time now for a game break, and let's go to the MLB Network studios. Here's Matt Vasgersian.
Derek Jeter making his first rehab start at shortstop for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. He is hitless with a base on balls without their captain. The Yankee shortstops ranked 29th in average, 28th in OPS. Expected to play 5 innings tonight. Stick back to you and Brian.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. The Yankees who had a laundry list of injuries when the season started. The big one was Jeter being out. There's a breaking ball that misses to Rios, and right now Matt Moore is not even close to finding the plate.
No, and this is what the Rays have seen this year from Matt Moore. There will be stretches where he will just lose the strike zone. He's been better getting back into sync, been better at making pitches when he's needed to, but this is not the part of the White Sox lineup that you want to be messing around with extra base runners and bad counts.
Gets a fastball and a good pitch for Rios to hit, and he missed that one. He fouls it off, so it's now 1-1 with the tying runners on base here in the 3rd inning. There you see the pitch count total, and that's not the kind of ratio you're looking for.
No, 50-50. Not in strikes ball ratio, no question about it.
Good pitch jamming Rios as he fouls it away, and now Moore is ahead of the right fielder 1-2. Adam Dunn is on deck for Chicago.
Alex Rios, he may have done Matt Moore a favor right there too, because that ball looked like it was tracking in off the plate, but so eager to hit. And you see that a lot. Hitters through the middle of the lineup, hitters in general, they see a guy out there in scoring position and they really want to swing the bat.
Good play by Lobaton behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. What about Lobaton's progress as a catcher?
I'll tell you what, Jose Lobaton, from even just the beginning of this year all the way until July, just a couple of months into the season, and the progression has been dramatic. I mean, he really has made, I would say, a leap forward in not only what he's doing at the plate, blocking balls, he's very active back there, but even at the plate.
And the ball getting away from Lobaton, and the runners will advance. So
and just as soon as you say that, instead of getting that glove over and smothering that ball, Lobaton tries to pick it with a little backhand, and it ricochets. This is not what you want to do right there. You want to flip that glove over, drop down like a goalie, try to keep that ball in front of you. He tries to pick it, and if you don't come up with it cleanly, that's what happens. It ricochets, and now the base runners move up.
Well, I'm glad you had the good things to say before that pitch, because he has been good. But the wild pitch, Piazza moving to 3rd and Ramirez to 2nd, and count 3-2. Adam Dunn is on deck. Here is the payoff pitch and a line drive, and the race to 3rd in time for the double play. Longoria makes the play, and Piazza, no reason why, with your team down 2-0, you want the ball to clear before you run, I'm sure. Why would you be that far off the base?
You should be glued to that bag. If the ball gets by Longoria, you're going to walk home. Should never be caught in this situation. Line drive, and then it's a race to the bag. Longoria beats him by a hair. And Matt Moore, the look on his face, priceless.
An incredibly costly double play. Some are more damaging than others. That was a big one in this kind of a pitcher's duel, and you're down 2-0. So there are 2 outs to Adam Dunn, and he fouls the pitch at the plate. Strike 1. Ramirez remains at 2nd base.
And these are the kind of mistakes and misplays that have plagued this White Sox ball club all season long. You see Evan Longoria get there just a hair early, and then Matt Moore ecstatic.
White Sox matching the season low of 15 under 500 at 34-49, and 12 behind the Tigers. That's the most they've been behind the division leaders. Here's the 0-1 pitch down low, and it's 1-1 to Dunn, who struck out his first time up. The White Sox had runners at 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, trailing 2-0 here in the 3rd. Now there are 2 down. And a fly ball hit deep to left field. Folda's going back and makes the catch on the warning track to end the threat. And the White Sox squander a golden opportunity A line drive to Evan Longoria. Diaza too far off the bag, leaning toward running to home, is doubled off. The big play. It remains 2-0. And welcome back to St. Petersburg, and the Rays batting in the third inning. Ben Zobrist, who singled his first time up, and he gets hit by a pitch and will trot down to first base. So first it was Diaza, now Zobrist leading off, getting hit by a pitch, and he's at first base with Evan Longoria coming up in this 2-0 Rays lead.
A little bit of an overthrow there by Chris Sale, trying to yank that breaking ball, and he just takes it right in off the plate and off the thigh of Ben Zobrist. Not the way you wanted to start this inning.
Sale, by the way, has already thrown 51 pitches. And we're here in the third inning. Here's Longoria, who drew a walk his first time. Soft toss over to first base. To see how Joe Madden plays it with a lead. See if he can try to edge in perhaps another run. He's got the big bat at the plate. Just getting a piece of it off the end of the bat, and it's 0-1. This is Longoria.
Well, one thing we've seen from Joe Madden is that when he does have the lead, he will get even more aggressive. He's aggressive by nature. But with the lead, he will really try to put the pressure on an opposing team.
Zobrist has 5 stolen bases in 6 attempts this year. Out of play, and if you joined us late, Ben Zobrist was named as the lone representative to the All-Star game for the Tampa Bay Rays, and what a thrill it has to be for Zobrist, who, by the way, was 1 for his last 23 coming into this game, and ended that drought to an extent with that first inning single. Right on that fastball. Back on the screen, 1-2. Want to know more about the latest Rays All-Star? Grew up 100 miles from Chicago. His debut was with the formerly named Devil Rays. And Z, well, you're not going to get below that in the alphabet.
He's easy to find.
There goes the runner, and the throw is high, and Zobrist has a stolen base, his 6th of the year. So just as you pointed out, Joe Matt with a lead in a pitching matchup like this, trying to take advantage as much as he can.
Continuing to add that pressure and realizing that opposing base stealers 11 for 11 off Chris Sale coming into play. Obviously now 12 for 12. But if he likes a pitching catching matchup, he is going to send just about anybody. And you talked about Ben Zobrist 5 out of 6. I'll add 1 to that.
Longoria lays off that slider in on the fist, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. You got the right man at the plate with a runner in scoring position if you want to add to your lead against Chris Sale, who's really had tough breaks, not getting any run support this year. 5-7 record, not close to how well he's pitched. Ground ball right at Alexi Ramirez. He holds Zobrist and throws out Longoria for the first out. Talk to Robin Ventura, a different approach for a manager with the team struggling the way it has.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you've been through it as a player, but it's one of those that as a manager, you got to make sure everybody stays focused and you keep playing hard no matter what. I mean, everything's kind of tough right now, and you just got to push through it.
Hey, Robin, a little bit of an uneven start here for your all-star representative, Chris Sale. What do you see down there from your vantage point on what he's doing and what he needs to do to get back in sync?
Well, I think, you know, every once in a while he gets in that mode of maybe throwing the same thing over and over again. And, you know, you get Scott up there, you get a 0-2, and, you know, he works that count to 3-2. So he's probably sitting on a slider or something. And, you know, he can mix it up a little bit more.
Robin, thanks for being with us. Appreciate your help. And, you know, we got to really give kudos to Robin Ventura because, of course, this was right after that really tough thing to stomach, that double play for the White Sox, who had runners in scoring position and nobody out, coming on with us. So our thanks to him. Yeah,
you figured that was the last place he wanted to be, but what a pro.
0-1 to Will Myers, and the call strike. No balls and 2 strikes to him. Robin Ventura, 2-time All-Star as a player, will be a coach for Jim Leyland. No balls and 2 strikes to Will Myers. And did he go around? He did, says first base coach Scott Barry. And so Myers is a strikeout victim, and that is the 2nd out.
It looked like Will Myers started that swing, and that ball was sweeping so much towards the back foot, try to pull up and get out of the way. And right there, Scott Barry said that was a little bit too far.
So Myers out for the 2nd time in the game, and Yunel Escobar coming up with Zobrist on at 2nd and 2 out. Escobar singled to right field and started that 2-run 2nd inning for the Rays. And came around and scored on Luke Scott's double. You know, the coach emeritus, everyone knows about Don Zimmer, who's been a fixture in baseball for so many years, the manager for so many clubs, Dodgers shortstop. He's been in Tampa Bay. Jim Leyland invited him to come to be an honorary coach, and he said he couldn't come. He couldn't make the trip, didn't want to travel. And then he was asked by Bruce Bochy, and he said, I may go with Bochy. I want to be with a winner. That's the sense of humor that Don Zimmer has. Yeah, great guy, isn't he?
Oh, he's absolutely tremendous. Absolutely true. The baseball knowledge, get a chance to sit down and talk to Don Zimmer and what he's seen, experienced.
Good man to have around.
Yes.
1-1, the count to Escobar with 2 out. Fouls off the fastball, and it's now 1-2. Zobrist was hit by a pitch and then stole second. Longoria, however, hit the shortstop, not able to move him around.
Well, that's what you'd like to see there, but he's your big run producer, so he's going to try to hit the ball hard. If he pulls it, so be it. Try to get a ball in a hole.
Yeah, you don't want Longoria to hit to the right side.
Yeah, you don't want him to just pushing one over there and moving a runner.
Chris Sale trying to pitch out of this inning, high and away. 2-2 now to Escobar. Sale beat the Angels on May 17th. At that time, he was 5-2 and has not won since. Didn't pitch for 16 days after that with shoulder tendonitis. And 0-5 since then. Chopped to Adam Dunn. He'll make the play unassisted, and that'll do it. The Rays lead one. And after 3 innings, it's 2-0 in favor of Tampa Bay. Well, we have Miss Florida, we have the 2 pitchers, and we have the big defensive play of the game thus far, Brian Anderson.
Well, that was a huge opportunity for the White Sox. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and with 1 pitch, Matt Moore is able to weasel his way out of that inning. Of course, had to retire 1 more hitter, but that went a long way towards getting out unscathed.
He'll face Jeff Keppinger, who doubled and was stranded at 3rd base in the 2nd inning. Designated hitter for the White Sox. A lot of room up the middle for Keppinger as the 3rd baseman Longoria plays close to the line. First pitch is in for a strike. Matt Moore has thrown now 52 pitches as we move into this 4th inning. And in the 3rd inning, he had 11 pitches for balls and 5 for strikes. Kind of reverse of what you really were looking for.
Yeah, very fortunate, again, to have gotten out of that inning.
But he's ahead of Keppinger, 2 strikes. White Sox have left 4 on base, at least 1 in each of the first 3 innings. Fouled off by Jeff Keppinger, who's been with 7 teams overall in his career. 4 of them since the start of the 2011 season. The Astros, the Giants, plus the Rays, and now the White Sox. You see his success against lefties. Ground ball to Escobar. 1 away. Keppinger is retired here in the 4th inning. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of MLB. And by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more. Matt Moore has allowed 3 hits, and with 1 out facing Connor Gillespie, struck out his first time up in this much heralded battle between 24-year-old left-handers and really 2 of the better pitchers. Neither one of them been stellar thus far.
No, they have not been sharp, but you got an opportunity. Chris Sale getting out of that last inning against the Rays, and Matt Moore, we've seen him from time to time. He will have an inning like he did in the 3rd, where he was little, well, all over the place in the strike zone. More balls than strikes by over a 2-1 margin, but just as quickly as that happens, he'll find it again. He'll find it again and then rattle off another 3 or 4 quality innings. So it's just a matter of him staying consistent mechanically. And for Chris Sale, as Robin Ventura alluded to, needs to mix it up a little bit better. And then what we've seen so far, not overthrow. Get back in the zone early.
Moore is behind Gillespie, 2 strikes. And now it is 3-0 with 1 out. And of course, the mark of the real solid pitcher is the one that can rebound from a rough inning.
Those are going to happen from time to time. You've got to be able to put that out of your mind, go back out there and continue to keep it 1 pitch at a time. Catcher gives you a sign, 1 pitch, 1 spot, and then execute it.
In there for the strike, 3-1 to Gillespie, with Diane Viciedo on deck for the White Sox. White Sox, of course, with Paul Konerko with lower back strain on the disabled list, as well as Jesse Crane with the right shoulder strain. That is a big loss for their pitching staff. And Gillespie, fly ball to center field, and making the catch out there is Jennings for the 2nd out. Well, Fox Sports is proud to team with Feeding America, a nationwide network of food banks that helps feed more than 37 million people in America each year through pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters. Visit feedingamerica.org/Fox Sports to learn how you can fight hunger in your community. Together, we are Feeding America.
Well, Dick, you mentioned Jesse Crane. He was also named to the American League All-Star team, replaced by Bartolo Colon because of injury. But think about some of the cogs on this White Sox team that are on the disabled list right now. You mentioned Jesse Crane, Paul Konerko. How about from the starting rotation? Gavin Floyd, whose season is over. Jake Peavy, who they hope to have back shortly after the All-Star break. A couple of big losses there also.
Question about it. Peavy had a bullpen session Friday. Went on the DL with a fractured rib. Suffered on June 5th. He's going to take part in a simulated game Tuesday in Detroit. Pitches inside to Viciedo. And so Moore, who fell behind Gillespie 3-0 and got him on a fly to center, now down 3-0 to Viciedo with 2 out.
Well, just fighting himself a little bit once again. Having trouble getting into the zone consistently.
3-1.
All that does is create opportunities for the opposing offense. You put them into good counts. If you occasionally walk a guy, you've got extra base runners. It makes it tough on you to pitch. Now, he's been able to do that for the most part all season long, but it is walking a fine line.
Chop foul. This is the first time in the game that Moore has been able to retire the first 2 batters in an inning. And, you know, we're talking about Peavy. Here's another name that has been mentioned as a possible piece that the White Sox could deal before the trading deadline. You know, they want to restock that farm system. It's not the healthiest in the major leagues by any stretch of the imagination. They're taking on international tack, trying to get players from outside the United States to sign as well. And they had Micah Zapata was signed this week, and that was a big one that they think will help the club. But Viciedo draws the walk with 2 out here in the 4th, and Gordon Beckham will come up.
Well, there's definitely some pieces there that if they want to move, teams are going to be interested. You know, Jake Peavy, a big game pitcher. If he comes back, proves that he's healthy, you know that the market's going to heat up for him. Same with Paul Konerko, same with Adam Dunn. You just never know. I think there's anybody on this roster that could possibly be moved.
Alex Rios, a lot of people talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates being in the market for Rios. Anyway, Beckham the batter, safe on an infield hit his first time up. 2 down. Beckham representing the tying run at the plate here in the 4th inning. Fouls off the pitch, strike 1 to Beckham.
Beckham's been swinging the bat very well the last 10 games. And you can see mechanically a little bit different in his stance, a little bit more of a squat, trying to keep that bat in the zone longer. And we talked to Robin Ventura about that, and he said that's what it's been all about. Made some tweaks late last year, then coming into this season, trying to flatten that bat, keep it in the zone longer, give him a better chance for hitting the ball square.
Beckham was the 8th overall pick in the 08 draft and were rookie at 3rd base. The next year moved to 2nd base.
Was teased a little bit last night.
Yeah, went to shortstop where he played at the University of Georgia. That was his college position, but no plans of doing anything but keeping Beckham as a 2nd baseman. 2 down, 1-1. The count to Gordon Beckham. Lifts it high in the air to right field. Will Myers toward the line, makes the catch, and that'll do it. 1 left for the White Sox. In the middle of the 4th, 2-0, the Rays. Bottom 3rd of the order for the Rays against Chris Sale here in the 4th inning. Catcher Jose Lobaton, who reached on an error and scored a run, fouls off the first pitch out of play for strike 1. What do you need to know about Lobaton, the Venezuelan? Water polo player as a youth.
You may wonder, catcher, tough guy, water polo. What's the deal?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. You ever watched a water polo match?
Yes.
Rough. I mean,
rough and tumble.
They get after it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so you can understand why avid water polo would say, you know what, I'll try my hand at catching, where you're going to get beat up too.
Well, that was the harder side of him. The softer side is that he married his wife Nina last year at home plate right here at the Trop. And there you see Lobaton hitting .279, 3rd amongst American League catchers in hitting, and Joe Mauer was named as the starting catcher for the American League All-Star team. 1 out to Luke Scott. He's delivered the big blow, fouls off the first pitch. Scott's a double into the right field corner in the 2nd inning, driving in Escobar with the first Rays run. Next one coming on a
infield out by Jennings, but it's 2-0, and it was Scott who got the first run in.
That at bat not lost on Robin Ventura. Understanding Chris Sale was ahead of him 0-2. And Scott was able to get it back to a full count before he did damage down into the corner to give the Rays the lead. And not many left-handers have been able to do that off Sale all season long. In fact, the first extra base hit off of him.
Talked about no run support. White Sox have not scored more than 5 runs in any of his 15 starts this year. Sweeping slider.
He's got the worst run support average in all of baseball. And you go back over that stretch where he's gone 0-5. It was a 6-start span that he's gone 0-5. His ERA very good at 3.19, but the run support during that time frame under 2. 1.91 runs of support. Not going to win very many games with something like that.
In tight to Scott. How does a pitcher maintain his control, his control emotionally with that?
You have to simplify things, much like you do out there on the mound when you go from pitch to pitch. You have to simplify things away from the field and understand I have to do my job and not worry about anything else. This isn't the National League. I'm not swinging a bat. That's not my area of concern. Would I love him for me to score more runs for me? Absolutely. Great slider there to get Luke Scott. However, I just need to go out and do my job, worry about getting out hitters, and just know that at some point it's going to turn.
Strikes out Luke Scott, his 5th strikeout, and there are 2 down. Go to MLBFanCave.com and pledge your National League or American League allegiance. Don't miss the action of the 2013 All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 16th. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox. That'll be Flushing, the home of the Mets. The All-Star Game will be played this year in all of the glorious manner in which Fox covers the All-Star Game. You'll see it all then. Sam Fuld, the count is 1-1 to him with 2 down. He struck out in his first plate appearance.
And to that end, Robin Ventura, in talking about Chris Sale, said he has been the consummate pro.
Gloved by Dunn on the fly for the 3rd out. 1-2-3 inning for Chris Sale. That's the first 1-2-3 inning for either pitcher tonight. On Fox. Along with Brian Anderson, Dick Stockton with you in St. Petersburg, where the Tampa Bay Rays locked in this big fight in the American League East. Red Sox keep winning, but there are 3 other clubs, 4 if you count the Blue Jays, who have run off that double-digit winning streak earlier, poised to make a move if the Red Sox falter. Tyler Flowers, who popped up to Sean Rodriguez his first time up, facing Matt Moore. High fly ball left field. Folger's back, has a beat on it on the edge of the warning track and makes the catch for out number 1. Well, let's go around the ballpark and take a look at the Fox Sports 1 fan cam, where we see fans in St. Petersburg who are excited about America's new sports network. You will be to Fox Sports 1 coming August the 17th. Top of the order, Alejandro Diaza, who bounced to first and then was hit by a pitch. Hit on the wrist and painful. Took a while before he was all right. Got up and went to first base. Runs up to bunt. And it's taken for ball 1. Matt Moore has pitched out of some trouble in the second inning, giving up a leadoff double to Keppinger. Beckham had an infield hit, but then he got Flowers to end the threat, and then the double play in the third. That was the big one. The line drive to Longoria to catch Diaza off third.
And did you see that swing right there by Diaza? You know, a lot of these guys that are able to do that, to be able to direct the bat, hit the ball the other way, that can run. See right here, he's just trying to come out of the box and slap one to the left side. Now, after the fake bunt, what he's trying to do there is he squares around. If he can bunt it, great. If he can't, at least he's gotten Evan Longoria to move in a couple of steps.
And here's the throw. It's not handled by Matt Moore.
And I don't know if he would have gotten him anyway. Diaza coming up the line hard. It looked like he had a chance to beat Matt Moore to the bag regardless. You see the play right here. Matt Moore, you got to take off a little bit sooner than that. Just a slight hesitation, and it was going to be very tight there at the bag. Rodriguez, a nice job. Realized he's got to flip. It was just that was very awkwardly done there by the Rays defensively.
Little behind him, do you think?
A little bit behind him. Matt Moore didn't get a clean break towards first base. And Sean Rodriguez, who's only been over at first base for 8 or 9 games this year, a little bit behind on the toss.
So a runner on base, and Alexi Ramirez, who has been on base twice. And the throw over to first base, Diaza. That's ruled a base hit. So Diaza with hit number 4 for the White Sox. 1 out, and Ramirez with the count, waiting for his first pitch after the toss to first. Right in there for a strike.
You know, and that's something that has to be automatic too for all the pitchers out there, kids that are listening. A ground ball to the right side, the break has to be instantaneously. You can always pull up if you see that the play is going to be made unassisted, but it's really tough if you don't get off to a quick jump over there to restart it, especially when you've got a base runner like Diaza with some speed going up the first base line.
And how many times did they practice that in spring training?
More times than you would even, care to count. That's what you do every day. 15, 20-minute stations of nothing but covering first base. A lot of that, I think, is used just as a, to get you into shape.
So you must have enjoyed that when you were a pitcher for those 12 seasons.
Not at all. It was a stamina building station, but yet at the same time, it's also ingraining into your head. Ground ball to the right side, you got to go.
It was a loaded question. 1 ball and 1 strike. And a shot foul to the White Sox bullpen, and it's now a ball and 2 strikes to Ramirez.
That was the station that you didn't want to end on. You'd rather get that one out of the way than head to the others.
Was there a favorite station for pitchers in the early days of spring training?
Not the first 2 weeks of camp. Maybe bullpen day. Bullpen day was always fun. Other than that, it was a lot of busy work.
People like watching it. They come to the ballpark to watch the drills before the games start. Little flow, a little ballet. 1 ball, 2 strikes. White Sox trailing 2-0. The tying run at the plate, and Ramirez, and the count now is even at 2-2.
Well, baseball is such a skill sport, a repetition sport. That's why you see infielders every single day out there taking ground balls. Batting practice every day. If they don't take it on the field, they're hitting in the cage before the game. Constantly working on muscle memory so that when action comes, you react quickly, you don't think about it, you just make a play.
A lot of people still miss the infield right before the start of a game. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the Moore going over to keep De Aza close. De Aza has 10 stolen bases and 14 tries. Of course, the White Sox are trailing 2-0. They're trying to get something going. They've had their chances. They've left 5 on base in the first 4 innings.
Well, they've got 3 guys that have 10 or more stolen bases. Ramirez, Rios, and De Aza. You figured at some point they have got to try to make something happen.
As good as Lobaton is at throwing base stealers out.
And as good as Matt Moore is at holding base runners. Just 3 stolen bases off Matt this year. He mixes up his looks very well, his times to the plate.
Matt Moore from New Mexico looking for a career-high 12th win tonight and leading 2-0 here in the 5th inning. 1 out, and De Aza, the runner at first base. And a swing and a miss by Ramirez, and he goes down. That'll be the 5th strikeout for Moore. Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball, is celebrating a new season for new memories. And for your chance to win a community field makeover and an all-new 2014 Impala, visit ChevyBaseball.com. Here's Alex Rios, struck out and lined into a double play in the 3rd inning. It's the best chance the White Sox had at the time. De Aza was at 3rd. Ramirez at 2nd, nobody out. Rios hit his shot. Longoria made the play. De Aza leaning toward going to the plate, was doubled off 3rd.
And that just cannot happen. Just a little bit too far. And there was 1 extra step towards the plate, which is what allowed Longoria to make that play.
0-2 now to Rios.
You know, they say that the old saying is freeze on a line drive. What you'd really like to do is freeze and start to lean or head back towards that bag. Because the point that you made, that ball, you've got to see it through. Because once it gets by Longoria, if it does, De Aza strolls home.
And the crowd.
And how many opportunities are you going to get off Matt Moore in a game like this?
Crowd enthusiastic, looking for Moore to shut down Rios and end this 5th inning. And a chopper to 3rd. Longoria behind the bag has plenty of time, and that'll do it. 1 hit, 1 left. So 6 men left on base for the White Sox, but they have no runs to show for it, and it's the Rays who have the 2-0 advantage. Chevrolet. Find new roads. We've completed 4.5 innings with the Rays leading 2-0. The White Sox have out-hit Tampa Bay, and it'll be the top of the order Desmond Jennings against Chris Sale. Well, front and fouls it off. Jennings was robbed of a base hit by Gillespie at third in his first at-bat, and then grounded to Gillespie and got the second run home for the Rays. Sale has retired the last 6 after hitting Ben Zobrist to start the third inning, and the count is 1-1. It'll be Jennings, Rodriguez, and Zobrist here in the 5th. That pitch is fouled back. You would never know Chris Sale at 6'6", maybe 180 pounds, could eat you out of house at home. He has such a voracious appetite. Nobody would ever understand it. Fast food, not a gourmet guy. And Adam Dunn said he eats more than anyone on earth. He says, I gained 10 pounds just by watching him. Pops it up into shallow right field. Gordon Beckham calls everyone off and makes the catch for out number 1. Hard to believe. And right now, speaking of the pitchers tonight, let's take a look at the Fox Sports 1 pitching comparison presented by Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming your way August 17th.
Well, a couple of bumps for each of these guys in the early going, but they have started to smooth it out. Matt Moore with 5 complete so far, no runs. Chris Sale into the 5th inning, just those 2 runs from earlier in the ballgame. Only 1 was earned, but he has certainly found it, retiring the last 7. And that's exactly what he's going to need to do. The way that Matt Moore is throwing the ball right now, his best chance, obviously, is to continue to pitch well and hope that his offense can start to scrape something together, keep this at a 2-run deficit.
Rodriguez, a strike to him. He has struck out twice, once looking, once swinging so far in this game. Rodriguez starting at first base, which keeping James Loney and his red-hot bat in the dugout. And the count now 1-2. Loney with a .320 average, 5th in the American League, and get this, .372 against lefties, 3rd in the league, who extended his career-long batting streak to 16 games last night, watching this one from the dugout.
Well, that just shows you what Joe Madden thinks about Chris Sale and the problems that he presents for left-handed hitters. When you talk about his .372 average against lefties, he has been good all season long because he's been so consistent in his approach, and that is hit the ball where it's pitched. If you want to stay away from him, he will take his hits to left field. If you want to come in, he trusts his hands enough to be able to get to that pitch and hit it to right field while using up the middle all the way, and that's why he's been able to keep that average so high, is that use the whole field approach.
Rodriguez strikes out for the 3rd time, 2nd time looking, and that is the 6th strikeout for Chris Sale. 2 away here in the 5th inning, and Ben Zobrist, who has singled and was hit by a pitch and stole a base, coming to the plate against Sale. 24-year-old from Lakeland, Florida, who has 25 of his friends and family in the luxury boxes watching tonight. Big cut and a miss by Zobrist, strike 1. There they are. A little down that Sale, his team behind 2-0. The fact that they have not scored any runs, nothing new there.
No, hey, he's got the worst run support in Major League Baseball, but he continues to just go out, be a professional, pitch, do his job.
Line shot, base hit to left field for Ben Zobrist. His 2nd hit of the game, so he was 1 for 23 coming into this game. Did not play last night, and then hearing he is going to the All-Star game as the Rays representative, has responded with 2 singles in this game.
And now 6 for 10. 6 for 10 off of Chris Sale. For whatever reason, sometimes you just see the ball out of a pitcher's hand better than others. Ben Zobrist now 10 at-bats in, 6 hits, and extends this inning for the Rays.
And Evan Longoria walked and bounced to short. 0 for 1. Sale had retired 8 in a row before that base hit by Zobrist. And here is Longoria in the field.
Boy, and look at that. As he takes that line drive into the glove, he already had designs on getting back to third base. I'll tell you the one thing about Evan Longoria at third base and why he has hardware on the mantle, he makes all of the plays. Smart there with the throw, bouncing it across. He goes to his left well, he goes to his right. He charges the ball well, whether it be with the glove or the bare hand. A tremendous amount of range and great glove work. Not to mention his throws so very accurate each and every time.
You know, you can see the awareness that Longoria has. You know, he's aware of what's happening on the field. It's those little things, the nuances that make him do things in an extra special manner. 2 strikes to Longoria with 2 outs here in the Rays' 5th. Rays trying to win their 3rd in a row and make it 7 out of 8. The Yankees came back and beat the Orioles. Boy, they made a habit the last couple of days of doing that. Strike 3 and Longoria goes down. 2 strikeouts this inning for Sale. That's 7 in the game. And after 5 innings here at St. Pete, the Rays leading 2-0. By Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moz. And by Budweiser, America's beer supports America's heroes. White Sox batting in the 6th against Matt Moore and Adam Dunn, who has struck out and flied to left field leading off. And the shift is on. 3 infielders to the right of second base. The first pitch is a changeup for ball 1. Adam Dunn looking for his 7th season with 40 or more home runs. It would only be the 8th player with that many or more. Quite a distinction if he can do it.
Well, if he can keep the pace up, he will do it. Right now with 23 home runs on a pace for 45. How about this guy? Middle of May, he was sitting on a 133 average. He was been able to push it up over 200, but it's the power. That's what you fear with this guy.
And he had 11 home runs in that span, June the 1st, and a hit on the count 3-0 from Moore here in the 6th inning. Three balls and a strike to Dunn. 23 home runs, tied for 3rd. 58 hits and 57 RBIs this season.
You talk about making the most of them. Wow. About a 1-to-1 ratio.
Strike 2, 3-2. Done with a walk-off home run. 9th time in his career against the Orioles on Thursday, but the first in a White Sox uniform. Fighting back, 3-2 now. And Dunn, who was ahead on the count, 3-0, strikes out on 3 pitches for the first out.
How about the finishing sequence there by Matt Moore? He goes 3-1 fastball that Adam Dunn takes, and then comes back with a 3-2 changeup and strikes him out again on that pitch. Boy, 87 miles an hour, and these Rays pitchers so well versed in the changeup and willing to throw it out over the heart of the plate and trust their arm action to get the swings and misses.
1 out to Jeff Keppinger. Doubled and bounced to shortstop. And the first pitch is a strike. Curveball. So the two pitchers, they've had some of their rocky moments, but both have settled down. And you look at the score, and sure enough, we're in the 6th inning. It is a low-scoring pitchers duel. That's what we have, and that's what we expected.
That's absolutely right. Matt Moore has been good all game long. Chris Sale, of course, giving up 1 unearned run amongst the 2, but he has settled down throwing the ball well. And
is ahead of Keppinger, 2 strikes. 1 hopper to Yonel Escobar, and there are 2 away in the White Sox 6th inning. Time now for the Fox Sports 1 game summary presented by Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming August the 17th. Matt Moore, 5 2/3 scoreless innings, has struck out 6. Luke Scott with the RBI double in a 2-run inning for the Rays in the 2nd inning. And the All-Stars, Chris Sale, Jesse Crain, and Ben Zobrist. Crain on the disabled list was selected, unable to go, and so Sale will be the representative from Chicago. Connor Gillespie, 0 for 2, struck out and fly to center field. So Moore has retired now 5 in a row. We've only had 1 inning where a pitcher retired the side in order, and that was Chris Sale getting the Rays bottom 3rd in order in the 4th. One and 2 now to Gillespie.
what you're seeing from Matt Moore right now is all 3 pitches starting to fall right into place. This is what he did his last outing against the Houston Astros, where he went 7 scoreless against them. He had all 3 working, led by that fastball to both sides. But now you're seeing the breaking ball in the zone more consistently. The changeup has been very good all game long.
And backhanded nicely by Rodriguez. Had that arm out there and made the play unassisted. A 1-2-3 inning. And Will Myers will be leading off for the Rays in the bottom of the 6th, with Tampa Bay leading Chicago 2-0. big leagues growing up.
So I really enjoyed watching Chipper Jones play. I think he went about it the right way, and obviously another one's Derek Jeter. Just seeing him play, just playing the right way and playing hard every day, I really admired that. And I didn't know who Dale Murphy was when I was, 10 years old or whatever. But yeah, I've heard those comparisons before. Obviously, he was a great player.
Yes, he was. Dale Murphy with the Atlanta Braves. Will Myers, who made his big league debut on June the 18th, hit a grand slam home run off of CC Sabathia. And hit a home run in his first home at-bat on June the 24th.
Well, that home run off Sabathia came after they intentionally walked Evan Longoria in front of him.
Shot off the glove of Sale, and Myers is going to be safe at first. That may be as hard a hit ball as we've seen tonight, and Will Myers is on at first.
Well, that's what Joe Madden loves about Will Myers, consistent, hard contact. That's what he said is going to obviously serve him well here in the big leagues. This ball hit hard up the middle off Chris Sale's glove, but it gets far enough away from him. Will Myers, always hustling up the line, is going to beat it out.
Yeah, Joe said 5-tool player, which is always a good resume, and the ability to hit these drives that will keep rising.
Well, that's some of the adjustments that he made in his swing. Evan Longoria is another guy that's able to create a tremendous amount of backspin via his swing path. Will Myers trying to do the same thing, high hands down through the ball, create that carry. That's where you get your home runs from.
Yonel Escobar, 1 for 2 with a single and scored one of the 2 Rays runs.
In fact, that grand slam off of CC Sabathia was hit to right center field. Took that ball the other way at Yankee Stadium.
Escobar has gone 43 consecutive games without an error. Last error was on May the 20th. And that's one of the reasons why the Rays have regained their stature as one of the top fielding teams in the league.
Well, not only that, but he has so much range. More range than maybe anybody in the American League.
Goes after the fastball, and it's 1-2.
Well, here it is. You walk Evan Longoria to get to Will Myers. And in a 2-strike count. Drives that ball to right field, gets the carry, and a little help.
Well, he led AAA with 57 runs batted in. He led all of the AAA leagues when promoted from Durham with 14 home runs. Just a matter of time as far as Will Myers was concerned. 1-2 to Escobar. Nobody out here in the 6th inning for the Rays.
Well, Escobar with the fewest errors of any of the regular shortstops in the American League. And you look at those defensive zone ratings, rate all of that on guys' range, balls that they get to. He covers more ground than anybody, and he's not making the errors. He has been stellar for this Tampa Bay Ray defense.
Well, just think of up the middle for the Rays and what they have going for them. Starting from behind the plate on. We mentioned Escobar, acrobatic performer defensively as well.
And it's not just the glove, it's also the arm moving over towards the third base line. Look at what he gets on the throw down. All the way over, making sweet plays. He has definitely added some flair to this Rays ball club.
1-2 pitch. And it's popped up into right field. Alex Rios will make the catch. I know Joe Madden was talking about Escobar as a legitimate all-star candidate. He said, who's playing better shortstop than this man?
I don't think anybody's playing better shortstop than Escobar. And I think what's holding him back are his offensive stats. The batting average rate around 250, 252. Here's the deal. This guy on April 17th was hitting .089 with an on-base percentage of 163. Now, since then, the batting average is around 280. All 6 of his home runs, 34 of his 36 RBIs, and his on-base percentage is approaching 350. If he has those numbers, he is going to Flushing.
The start dragged him down. There goes the runner, and the pitch beautifully handled by Gillespie, and going to third base is Myers. Great hustle by Will Myers. Never stopped running as he crossed second base went to third base as Lobatone on the first pitch is retired for the second out. But the Rays have a runner 90 feet from the plate.
And that man couldn't be happier. He is aggressive by nature. He loves aggressive base running. And Will Myers, great awareness, understanding third base has pretty much been abandoned because of the play, and the play is happening in front of him, so he can see what's going on and realizes I can beat him to third base. Boy, that's outstanding.
And first of all, Gillespie made a terrific play on his own just to keep that from going through for a base hit, and then Myers did the rest. 2 out, and Myers is at third base, and Luke Scott, who has doubled and struck out, knocked in a run. Rays leading 2-0. Both of their runs coming in the second inning. 1 run was earned that frame. And Chris Sale's next pitch will be his 100th.
Oh, and you wonder how much longer Robin Ventura is going to go with him. He threw 123 pitches in his last start against the Cleveland Indians, and in 2 of his last 4, he's been over 120 pitches. There's not many guys that have done that this year in Major League Baseball.
And that pitch thrown behind Scott hits him. And that's the 3rd batter hit by a pitch tonight. 2 of the Rays have been hit, and 1 of the White Sox.
Oh, that was a breaking ball that just slipped out on Chris Sale. No harm, no foul. He's not trying to do this. 78 miles an hour. That ball just slips out.
And hit him in the right spot.
Yeah.
Don Cooper, the pitching coach, out to the mound to say the words to settle down Sale here. Runners are at first and third with 2 down. And Sam Fuld coming to the plate. So the meeting is over, and here comes Fuld, who has struck out and bounced out, done unassisted.
And you can see Sam Fuld right there, a great camera shot of him looking over the defense to see if there's any holes, anything that he can try to exploit.
One 1-0, the count.
And they got the corners in even with the bag. Everybody else playing pretty much standard.
Inning started with Myers with a hard hit ball off the glove of Sale, reached. And then after Escobar flied out, Lobatone hitting a ground ball wide of third. Gillespie making a good play on a tough hop, but Will Myers, after Gillespie threw out Lobatone, continued to run, hustled his way to third. Then Scott hit by a pitch. So runners at the corners with 2 out and 2-0 to Fuld. There's a strike.
Sam Fuld just a 194 average, but hitting very well against left-handed pitching. And he took a rip there in a 2-0 count.
Runner goes from first. Pitch is fouled off. Luke Scott was off on the pitch. Now it's 2-2 to Fuld as Scott comes back.
That just shows you how aggressive the Rays are going to be. Luke Scott, not known as a base stealer, but they put him in motion. 2-1 count. You trust Sam Fuld there with the swing. There's 2 outs. Again, just trying to get that extra run, try to extend this lead a little bit, and being aggressive.
And a shot up the middle. Base hit to center field. Myers will score. Scott will hold at second. And that is the result of Will Myers' hustle going to third base. Sam Fuld with an RBI single. It's now 3-0 Rays.
It's the little things, and you're absolutely right. He sees Gillespie has abandoned the bag in order to make the play. He beats him to third, and then Sam Fuld finds a hole up the middle.
And a big third run here.
Now he's just trying to put the ball in play. Puts a good swing on it, gets it over the head of Chris Sale, and able to squeeze it between 2 defenders for the Rays' third run.
Fuld with his 11th run batted in of the year. So the Rays getting RBIs tonight from Luke Scott, Desmond Jennings, and Sam Fuld. Runners at first and second. And a ground ball hit to Ramirez. He gets the force at second. And that'll do it. It's now 3-0 Rays, and Baseball Night in America will return to St. Petersburg after a word from your local Fox Nation. Leading the White Sox 3-0, 3-6-0 for Tampa Bay, 0-4-1 for Chicago, and one of the 3 runs unearned. And left-hander Jake McGee is up warming up in the Rays bullpen as Diane Viciedo leading off in the 7th against Matt Moore. Ball 1 to Viciedo, who has struck out and walked.
Joe Madden having Jake McGee up in the bullpen does not want to let this inning potentially get away. Matt Moore's pitch count already approaching 100, and the Rays watch the pitch counts of their starters, especially the young guys. But I'll tell you what, if you're a Chicago White Sox fan, if you're a Chicago White Sox player, you might want to see Matt Moore out of the game, because right now he has really clicked it in with all 3 pitches: fastball, curveball, changeup.
And all 6 strikeouts have come on changeup. 1-1 to Viciedo. Takes the big cut and misses.
See, that's what he's known for. And that's what you have to guard against. He's going to come with that fastball that's got good late life on it, very firm. But then all of a sudden you get so geared up to handle that pitch that he drops that changeup on you, picks up those strikeouts, and look at that.
Foul ball. Nate Jones begins to throw for the White Sox. Their bullpen down the left field area. Here's Jones. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Viciedo, bottom 3rd of the order against Matt Moore here in the 7th. And that is inside.
And he went right back to the 2-strike changeup, trying to get Viciedo to offer. And ball just off the plate in.
Shot up the middle, but playing perfectly is Zobrist behind the bag, and talk about being in a great position to make the play. 1 out, and now for a game break, let's check in with Matt Vasgersian.
Well, Dick, thanks. We saw a deal earlier this week for starting pitching. It's still 25 days away from the trading deadline, and FoxSports.com senior writer Ken Rosenthal has news of another deal that's very close.
The rich are about to get richer. The Dodgers are on the verge of getting Ricky Nolasco from the Marlins for 3 minor league pitchers, none of them top prospects. The Dodgers will absorb the rest of Nolasco's remaining salary, about $5.5 million. Top of their rotation now, Kershaw, Greinke, Rue, and Nolasco.
Trading season has begun. Dick and Brian, for the latest buzz around the league, go to FoxSports.com. Back to you guys in St. Pete.
Thank you, Matt. Well, nobody does it better than the group you just heard from, with Matt and Ken Rosenthal. And the Dodgers, who are 3.5 games out at first, so they can smell it. And making that kind of a move could really push them in the right direction, as Gordon Beckham.
Well, how about this play right here? Matt Moore thinking this is probably going to be a base hit, just smoked up the middle. But look where Ben Zobrist is. The Rays very proactive on how they move their defenders around. A lot of shifts. And they had Ben Zobrist stationed perfectly right up the middle.
Right behind second base where the ball was hit. 0-2 pitch and a base hit to the opposite field for Beckham. A 1-out single for Gordon Beckham, his second hit of the game. So 1 out and 1 on in a 3-0 game. And Tyler Flowers. And coming out is Joe Madden, and that's going to be all for Matt Moore, perhaps. He has Jake McGee ready. So Tyler Flowers coming out. Rays leading 3-0, and you can see the import of that third run. And let's listen to the reaction to Matt Moore as he leaves the mound. Jake McGee's first pitch to Flowers, hit to Longoria, over to Zobrist, and an around the horn double play. Jake McGee comes in and throws one pitch to get out of trouble, and the White Sox are retired in the 7th. It remains a 3-0 Rays advantage. never stop improving. And by Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of MLB. Rays take their 3-0 lead to the bottom of the 7th. Chris Sale remains in the game for the White Sox. And Desmond Jennings swings and misses for strike one. Sale has allowed 6 hits, has struck out 7. The foul out of play, and it's 0-2. You know, it's an interesting game. You look at the scoreboard and say, yeah, it's a pitcher's duel. Then you see each pitcher has retired the other in order only one time. 7 men left on base for one club as Joel Peralta warms up, and 6 for the other.
Well, what this has been is a game of opportunities, and the Rays have taken advantage of a limited number of opportunities, and the one big opportunity for the Chicago White Sox they did not cash in on, and that cost them.
And strike 3. And Rodriguez goes down for the out. 10 days, baseball's greatest stars gather in the most exciting city in the world for the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's Midsummer Classic returns to New York with home field advantage in the World Series on the line. It's the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, live from New York, July 16th, only on Fox. And Ben Zobrist will be representing the Rays in that All-Star Game.
Yeah, home field advantage on the line, I think, is exactly why Ben Zobrist is the guy. Such a versatile player. Lets you know how badly the American League wants to win that ball game to bring Ben Zobrist onto that squad.
Boy, he can play the infield, outfield, and you know, really 44 runs batted in, very valuable. He's a professional.
Yep.
To sum it up, he has 2 hits, was hit by a pitch once, stolen base. Officially 2 for 2 tonight.
Always with a good on-base percentage. Will take his walks whether he's hitting or not.
And he strikes out. Zobrist, after Rodriguez is caught looking, strikes out for out number 2. Here are the American League starters for the All-Star game. It's interesting. Mike Trout, you know, where is Hamilton? Where is Pujols? And Trout richly deserves the honor. And the rest of the All-Stars, David Ortiz will be the DH. Davis hit his 33rd home run today for the
well deserving all around. How about the fact that Baltimore fans coming out to vote? Yeah. 3 starters on that squad.
Evan Longoria takes outside for ball 1. 9 strikeouts now for Chris Sale, who has averaged more than 9.5 strikeouts per 9 innings coming into this game.
Well, as you can see on that pitch right there, a max effort guy comes from an odd arm angle with fastball in the mid-90s. The last 2 strikeouts have come on that sweeping breaking ball, which is nasty. No wonder.
And there's a call strike, and looking as good as ever. It comes back with an 84-mile-an-hour changeup. He's thrown 117 pitches. He's gone as high as 124 this year. And there's a shot hit to Alexi Ramirez. And a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Sale. All he needs is some runs. And that's all he's needed all year long. We go to the 8th, 3-0. James Loney replaces Sean Rodriguez at first base for the Rays. And their new pitcher is Joel Peralta. And he is making his league-leading 45th appearance. And will face the top of the order for the White Sox. Diaz, followed by Ramirez and Rios. Peralta tagged for a 3-run 8th-inning home run Thursday by Houston's Brett Wallace. Leads the American League with 20 holes. And trying to do it here. Missing the fastball is Diaz. Strike one, Diaz. 1 for 2 officially. With an infield hit, was also hit by a pitch.
It's such a tough job to be a late inning reliever. You have to have a short-term memory, whether it be good or bad.
Ricky Nolasco trade, which we broke in on, and the Ken Rosenthal rumor is now official. Ricky Nolasco is now a member of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Oh, no surprise, like you said. They were aggressive in the offseason. They're going to be aggressive in season, especially after the run they've been on.
In his hometown area. So he goes back home. 2 balls and 1 strike to Diaz. Alex Torres warming up for the Rays in the bullpen. So there's Peralta now with 45 relief appearances. Jim Johnson, who has struggled as of late, behind him.
And nothing new for Joel Peralta. Since he's come over to the Rays in 2011, he leads the American League in appearances total over that time frame. This is a guy who wants to take the ball each and every day. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but always ready, always answers the bell, and has done a real nice job for Joe Madden coming out of that pen late in ball games.
37-year-old right-hander, 3rd year with the Rays. Lefties are only hitting 168 against him in that time, but he's behind 3-1 to Diaz. And that's a strike.
Well, what makes him so effective is he's not overpowering. You think of a lot of late inning guys are going to come in with the big fastball and blow you away. That's not Joel Peralta's game. His game is to come in with quality pitches, but he will throw any pitch in any count in any situation. So you just can't sit on one pitch. The breaking ball, the fastball, he's got a very good split, and you just never know what you're going to get from him.
There's the 3-2 fastball, and Diaz stays alive.
Very deliberate on the mound, thinks through every pitch, what he wants to do, what he wants to accomplish. And no fear of any situation. And that's why he's Joe Madden's big-time guy. He cuts through the heart of the order, the top of the order, more than any other reliever you'll see.
Again, coming back with that 3-2 pitch, and he gets Diaz for the strikeout. It's exactly what he did there. There's 1 gone for the White Sox in the 8th inning. Next Saturday on Baseball Night in America, Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals take on Alfonso Soriano and the Cubs in one of baseball's oldest rivalries, where 2 of the American League's best teams meet when the Rangers visit the Tigers. Others will see the Nationals face the Marlins, Rockies visit the Dodgers, or the Mets take on the team with the best record. Yes, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Fox Baseball Night in America begins next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Here is Alexei Ramirez, been on base twice with a single and a walk. Struck out his last time. So once again, the Sale was given up 6 hits, and the 2 runs in the 2nd inning. 1 was unearned, not getting any run support tonight. So the frustration continues for him. There's a fastball and a strike.
That's such a tough way to pitch, to go out there, and you can't think of it in those terms. You've just got to go out there, do your job, get outs, let the offense do their thing. Too often he's come up on the wrong end of that. And so far tonight, that is the story.
We were talking earlier about how he has to stay above it all.
That's the toughest part. And that's where Robin Ventura said this guy is the consummate pro. You know, he came up, Mark Burley, a lot of the older guys on the staff, Jake Peavy. good guys, good, solid, professional guys on how you handle your business as a starter. And that's who he learned from. And he said Robin Ventura said that's the approach that he takes, that he stays above the fray, and he's just worried about going out and doing his job.
1 strikeout away from his 5th 10 strikeout performance of the season. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Alexei Ramirez. And a looping base hit to center field by Ramirez. 2nd hit of the game. And so the White Sox have a base runner. And again, the potential tying run is not at the plate, but in the on-deck circle because of getting that important 3rd run for the Rays.
Yeah, that was huge. That was absolutely huge because you're right. With a 2-run lead, any base runner, and all of a sudden tying run at the plate, now you've got to put an inning together. That's what you're going to force the White Sox to do. And a nice start there by Ramirez with that 1-out single, staying on that split down in the zone and be able to soft serve it into center field.
Alex Rios, 0 for 3 tonight. Has not gotten the ball out of the infield. Fouls off the fastball. Struck out, lined into a double play, and bounced to third. And that double play in the 3rd inning proved to be really a backbreaker to this point for the White Sox because Diaz was at 3rd, Ramirez at 2nd, nobody out in a 2-0 game, and Diaz was doubled off on the line drive to Longoria.
Demoralizing. It can be a demoralizing play, and up to this point, it's exactly what it's been.
Now it's 0-2 to Rios.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. You know you're going to score at least 1. You're hoping for 2. You're hoping for a big inning. And yet with 1 swing of the bat, you wipe out 2 base runners. You're left with 2 outs and runner at 2nd.
You mentioned there's Torres, 25-year-old from Venezuela. And you have the left-handed hitting Adam Dunn on deck. There's the lead by Ramirez. 0-2 pitch, strike 3, and Rios is down. 2nd time he's gone down on strikes. And there are 2 away with the left-handed hitting Adam Dunn coming up. Torres, the lefty, in the bullpen.
A good fastball here by Peralta. Just buries it right to the outside corner, freezing Alex Rios. And it certainly looks like Joe Maddon's going to stay with Joel Peralta. Reason being, you referenced it earlier, how well he does against left-handed hitters, number 1. But number 2, Joe Maddon loves Joel Peralta in the heart of other teams' orders. He's the guy that he wants out there in these tough situations against guys that have a lot of power and can do a lot of damage.
Now Evan Longoria has moved over to the right of 2nd base.
Put Evan Longoria right there. You've got Yunel Escobar staying at shortstop, a little more athleticism on the left side.
And Zobrist is playing short right field in this shift against Dunn. The count is 0-1. Adam Dunn, 0 for 3 tonight, has struck out twice. That's low. Ramirez on at first with the 1-out single, but Peralta's come in and has struck out 2. Once again, Dunn has the power, but with a 3-run lead, 1 swing of the bat would only bring the White Sox to within a run. And you can credit Will Myers for the hustle that set up that 3rd run, and he'll be the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 8th for the Rays. Two and 1 to Dunn. Adam Dunn, 20 or more home runs in the first half of the season for the 10th time in his career. Crowd is so silent in anticipation here. And a high drive hit to left center field. Fuld is going back and he makes the catch. He gets back there in a hurry. So Dunn gave it a long drive, the 2nd time he's done it. to the warning track in left field. The side is retired. Peralta does his job, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. 3-0 Tampa Bay. By Universal Pictures' new film R.I.P.D. in theaters July 19th. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Well, that'll be the night for Chris Sale as he gives way to Nate Jones, the 27-year-old from Northern Kentucky University. And Chris Sale working 7 innings, giving up 3 runs, 2 were earned, 6 hits, 9 strikeouts, and 1 walk. And leaves trailing 3-0. And Will Myers swings and misses at the first pitch for a strike. Myers last time up hit a shot off the glove of Sale, reached first, went to third on a ground out with 1 out, and scored on full single. And that is looming large as the 3rd run for the Rays. And he swings and misses strike 2.
Oh, one of the bright spots for the Chicago White Sox ball club has been Nate Jones and his performance as of late. His last 15 games covering 17 innings, just 2 earned runs given up, 2 wins.
Fernando Rodney, the closer, is warming up for the Rays right now, leading 3-0 in the count, 1-2 to Will Myers, who's 1 for 3 tonight.
Now pitching Will Myers up in the zone, dangerous, and you can see Nate Jones trying to stay down and away with the slider.
And Myers strikes out, 1 gone. There was the slider. Well, fans, get ready for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you would want, and shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, coming August the 17th. Here is Yunel Escobar, 1 for 3 with a single. Back in the 2nd inning and scored 1 of the 3 Rays runs. Actually scored the first one. Foul ball over the head of George Hendrick, the first base coach. Turned back the clock night, and the uniforms worn by the Rays, who in 1972 obviously didn't exist. And so maybe if they had uniforms, this is what they'd look like. This is what the White Sox look like in that 72 season. And again, if you're wondering, wait a second, why are the White Sox wearing the home whites, is because their road uniforms were powder blue.
That'd be tough.
And that would clash with the Rays uniform.
It'd be very loud.
You know, the Rays uniforms look a lot like the San Diego Padres, brown and yellow, when they began as an expansion team.
There's no question about it.
I majored in uniforms, you know, at school.
What's your favorite?
Oh, well, Cardinals, Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, and you know, certain ones.
I'll tell you what my favorite is, because I can't believe they pulled it off. How about the Chicago White Sox back in the day?
Oh, the shorts?
With the butterfly collars and the shorts.
I was doing the Red Sox games when they were wearing those.
It's an aggressive look.
Bucky Dent was on that team. George Orta, second base. Tough to slide, you know, when you're wearing high socks and shorts.
Maybe that's where the head first slide became in vogue.
Something like that. Well, Escobar with the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes and 1 out. Nate Jones, as you mentioned, had a streak of 7 scoreless outings until he gave up the tying run against the Orioles on Thursday. Eventually won on Adam Dunn's home run. And there is a ball backhanded by Ramirez, guns it over to get Escobar for the second out. So Chris Sale, impressive 9 strikeout effort, only 3 runs.
And I'll tell you what, as the game went on, he got better and better and better. Started to overthrow just a little bit early in the ball game, but boy, once he evened it out, that fastball explosive, very good with the slider and the changeup. Chris Sale putting together another very solid outing for this White Sox ball club, but again, been the story of the year for him. Just no support offensively.
Retired 15 of the last 19 batters he faced, as Lobaton takes ball 1. Lobaton reached on an error, scored a run. Was robbed of a hit in the 5th inning, and that was the play in which Myers hustled his way to third base and eventually scoring on Sam Full's base hit. So it's 3-0. 3 runs on 6 hits. No runs, 6 hits for the White Sox. Nate Jones in relief of Chris Sale. Missing inside with the heater, and it's 2-0. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, scheduled hitters for the White Sox are Jeff Keppinger, Connor Gillespie, and Diane Viciedo. And Fernando Rodney would be ready. And ball 4, and Lobaton draws a 2-out walk. This was the big blow. Luke Scott with a double into the corner, driving home Escobar with the first run. And then an out later, Desmond Jennings infield out, got the second run home. So once again, the Rays capitalizing on striking early in this game.
And how about the fact 2 of the 3 RBIs came from the left-handed hitters?
And Dunn will step on the bag. Yeah, the last 2 guys, well, you have to have some lefties in the game. Well, they came through, didn't they? Dunn makes the play unassisted. We go to the 9th, 3-0, Rays. closer who's back in good form after a shaky start. He has 9 straight save conversions going back to the end of May. Picked up his 18th save against the Astros on Thursday. And Rodney had his shaky moments at some spell during the year, but like all great relievers, they bounce back.
And he has certainly bounced back in a big way and has that swagger again that he had all of last year, where he put up a historic season, a .60 earned run average. He gave up 5 earned runs last year for the season.
Converted 48 of 50 saves in his first year with the Rays. And facing Jeff Keppinger, teammate from last year, and the first pitch taken for ball 1. Keppinger 1 for 3, doubled back in the second inning. And a call strike, 1-1.
And Fernando Rodney, as a closer, keeps it about as simple as possible. 2 pitches, fastball, changeup. We've seen the first 2 at 93, 94. He will get that pitch up to 99, 100 from time to time, and then come with a changeup in the low to mid 80s.
Pitches inside. Rays trying to close it out and win their 3rd in a row and make it 7 out of 8 and move into a tie with the Orioles for 3rd place in the AL East. The Yankees beat the Orioles 5-4. Mariano Rivera with his 29th save. And the changeup is fouled. And the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeff Keppinger.
When Rodney's throwing strikes, he forces you to make a very tough decision. Do I get ready for 96, 97? Or do I go after 82, 83? He's such a wide span, a wide swath of miles per hour to cover.
And a 1-hopper to Escobar, makes the play, and there's 1 out. Matt Moore started 6 1/3 scoreless innings. Would be the winning pitcher if the Rays hold on. And the biggest sports event of the summer heading to New York, and the festivities begin Monday, July 15th with the Home Run Derby on ESPN. And then on Tuesday, July 16th, the Midsummer Classic kicks off with the Red Carpet Show on MLB Network, followed by the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fox. Connor Gillespie, ball 1 to him, 0 for 3 tonight. He has made an error at third, but has also made a couple of sparkling plays as well.
Well, that error at third base on a chopper, slow roller by Lobaton, led to an unearned run for the Rays. But you're right, a couple of very good plays that may have saved a run, saved base runners.
One ball, 1 strike with 1 out here in the 9th inning. And a fly ball to right field. Will Myers is there, makes the catch. And now the White Sox are down to their last out. And now it's time for the King Play of the Game, brought to you by Burger King, where taste is king. It was the big play.
The one opportunity that the White Sox had in this ball game, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, line drive by Rios, and Longoria stabs it, able to beat Piazza back to the bag.
What an opportunity the White Sox had, 2nd and 3rd, down 2-0 with nobody out, big chance, and then the double play. Longoria getting over to 3rd before Piazza could, and that was the pivotal play. And the count to Viciedo is strike 1 from Rodney. Fouled out of play, and now the White Sox are down to their last strike, and the Rays, with a win, would go to 48-40, and the first time this year they would be 8 games over 500 in this tight AL East race. One and 2 now. White Sox would drop to 34-50 and 16 behind 500, which would be their low point of the year, and then drop 13 behind the Tigers, who won their game tonight. 1 and 2, 2 out in the ninth.
Rodney looking to finish this game off in style. Last couple of fastballs at 98, but wide of the zone. Seeing that velocity climb as the inning is going on.
Just staying alive is Diane Viciedo. Matt Moore, scoreless 6 1/3 innings. And Jake McGee, Joel Peralta coming in to set it up, and Fernando Rodney here with 2 and 2. What does he give Viciedo here?
He's got him set up for a changeup. Sped him up with 3 straight heaters. 4 straight heaters. Now he's got him set up for the changeup.
I'd stick with that line. I'd go with that because it could happen at any point.
Well, and that's the thing. You've got to, if you're Viciedo, you've got to cover that 98. You've got to be ready to go. He's obviously in swing mode now. Swinging at the last 2. You give him the changeup, and all of a sudden he's way out in front.
And he strikes out on the changeup. Set him up, struck him out, and the game is over. The 10th Rays shutout of the year. The 4th started by Matt Moore, who wins his 12th game of the year. And Fernando Rodney gets his 19th save. For Brian Anderson, Dick Stockton saying goodnight. Coming up after the break, we'll send it to Matt Vasgersian, Dan Plesac at the MLB Network studios for more post-game coverage.